Mitch, good talking to you, man. And thank you so much for doing our first of hopefully many interviews in the future, man. How are you doing and where are you? Because you look cold.
Yeah, I am cold. I'm sitting in my hotel room here. We just finished I've been on two tours in the last week, so I just finished like 7 days of shows. This was the last show last night, so I'm just waiting to fly home. But I'm not very well versed in the touring world, so it's beating me up here.
It's all good because part of that tour you came to Toronto, my hometown. You were
That's
playing
right.
the Rivley. How was
That's
that?
that's right. It was cool, man. That was probably our best turnout. It was a lot of fun. It was cool to play in a place that's had so many legends come through there. It was cool.
That is the truth. I actually hosted there a show several years ago, and it's still one of my favorite places to hang out and be at. So glad that you're a part of that, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're doing this, man, because
Yeah.
you are part of now a family because when it comes to Canadian country artists, you can say country, but Canadian
Yeah.
country artists, I always feel they are so open and helping to bring new artists. How does it feel being part of this genre, but also knowing A, you're getting to meet your heroes, and B, it's a place where you will soon become that influencer in the Canadian country music scene.
Yeah, it's been cool. I lived in the States for a lot of years and I was trying to, chase the dream down there and I never really got to know the world of Canadian country music and it's funny when people like yourself call me a new artist. I've been doing this for a lot of years and I don't feel new, but in this world I am new and I've met so many new people, in the country at the CCMAs and it's just such a tight-knit community of country folks with artists and industry folks and they've all been so welcoming. So it's cool to be part of that team.
And you're absolutely right. You've been doing this for years. I mean, you've been writing songs. Like, how old were you when you wrote your first
Oh,
songs?
9, 10 years old probably.
That is insane because I know what I was doing 9, 10, and I don't want to talk about it. But
Yeah.
um, big influences, man, especially for small town guy. Family really helped influence you in this industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, my grandma's a singer, my dad's a singer. Even on my mom's side, my mom does some singing. Everybody's into music. My sister plays, my brother plays, and it's just been around for forever. So it wasn't really like a job choice for me. It was just something that I just kind of expanded on that already existed in my life. So it's a cool way to come up for sure.
A lot of artists tend to find that moment in their careers when they say, I think it's time for me to head down to Nashville. You were
Yeah.
doing that way before that decision was being made.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't even think of Nashville till I was 19 or so and by then I had been playing shows here in Canada for years and obviously though that's like the mecca for country music as a whole, so I had to go check it out, but it's good to be home.
You talked about living in the States. Was it Texas you're talking about?
Yeah, I live down in Texas. So I'm an electrician by trade and I've kind of chased the oil fields all over the place in my 20s and I've been everywhere from Alberta to Saskatchewan to Texas to you name it. But yeah, I lived down in Texas for 5, 6 years, and they'd ship me off to Nashville on my time off to go write songs, and it was cool, kind of getting to know both worlds, right? Because they're two very different scenes. Like the Texas country music scene and the Nashville country music scene are both in their own right legendary, but both very different things. And on one side you got the Parker McCollums and the Co Wetzels and the now like Hudson Westbrook guys like that coming up in Texas, and then obviously all the great artists that come out of Nashville. So it was cool to kind of dip into both worlds and do Nashville, Austin. It was a cool experience for sure.
How did what we just talked about, all this stuff that we talked about, help you in your story writing in your music?
Yeah, I think it was just exposure. Like I've 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 never been tied to a genre, and I've never been tied to really anything musically. So just having the experience and listening to so much different music, especially on the country music side with, red dirt country where you got Zach Bryan in Oklahoma and you got Turnpike Troubadours and all these like kind of grassroots country artists out of Texas, but then you also have they're dipping into the mainstream with guys like Parker McCollum And then on the Nashville side of it, it's, the more pop kind of driven country music, and then the traditional side of Nashville, the old stuff. And I've just been exposed to all of it. So it's been a melting pot. It's hard to like figure out who I am and what kind of music I want to put out because I've listened to so much different genres, you know what I mean? But
Where or
we're getting
when
there.
did where and when did you finally make that decision? Because you're talking about the oil rigs and stuff, and then you talk about music. Had to be a
Yeah.
decision. Which one had to fall, had to stand up and run with?
Yeah.
When did
Well,
you make that decision and why?
I think I was like 18, 19. It was right after I graduated. So my dad was big on like, if you want to chase the music thing, that's fine, but you need a way to like pay your bills and support yourself. So the easiest thing for me, excuse me, was to get a trade. So I went to school to be a carpenter originally. I didn't enjoy that. So I decided I was going to go to school to be an electrician. And then I got my ticket there. And the reason I chose electrical is because I wanted to get into the oil fields and not do the Monday to Friday. I wanted a job where I could work, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 2 weeks on, 1 week off, or, you name it. So I could have the time off to travel, you know what I mean? So that was kind of the motivation behind it. Um, and that's how it kind of worked out.
What would you say is the single that finally helped you get into that position of, hey, who is this guy? He sounds great.
Yeah, I think early on I was kind of like I said before, I wasn't really sure like who I wanted to be and what genre I wanted to be. I didn't have a team behind me. I was just kind of writing songs and putting them out. And then like I said, I did a ton of writing in Nashville, and I feel like I cut my teeth down there and learned how to write country songs. And I had a song, my last single, Home, that I had been carrying around for 7 or 8 years. And, that song tells the story of my life between Texas and Nashville. And I think it was one of those songs, it was a co-write down in Nashville, but um, it showed me that I could do this, and I could make a country song work and make people like it, and then with the success of that song, it kind of just pushed me to keep trying to replicate that, you know what I mean?
Well, you kind of did that, man, because we got a new single out right now. So let's go into that. I like to make this part official. What is the name of the new single, and how does it represent you in this point in your career?
Yeah. So the next single, well, it's not out yet. We're working on the rollout. It's going to be out at the end of February. It's called Back to You, and I think it's my favorite song I've ever written. It's kind of a slower two-chord kind of R&B meets country meets rock meets blues, kind of slowed right down, soulful ballad. And I pride myself on trying to come up with new ways to write melodies and new ways to say things. And this is kind of new ground for me for whatever reason. So I'm just really excited to get it out in the world. And it's already had such good response on the road. And yeah, it's just, I'm excited. I can't wait.
And you are correct. I want to make sure I got the right date. February 21st is when it's going to be released as we speak.
Yep, you betcha. Yeah, it's gonna be
Does
good.
that mean does that mean an EP or album is going to be following at some point in 2025?
I think so. I've been recording songs. As you know, I'm with the label 604 out in Vancouver, and they've been good to me. And
Oh,
we've been putting together songs for the last 2 years, and I got a full album of songs ready to go. So I'm just trying to figure out which way is the best way to kind of get them out there. So I'd say in the near future, for sure, we're gonna have something like that coming.
thank you for reminding me about 604 Records. I love them. How does it feel
Yeah,
being part of a company that really is dedicated to their artists? It's not like just sign and then you go sit on the side. They
yeah.
really want to help bring you to the next level.
They do, and they've had such strong success in the past, and even success that I was a fan of before I even realized that 604 was behind it. Like, I remember I grew up playing hockey, and I remember being on like tournaments with my dad and driving to hockey games with him, listening to Default and Theory of a
Yeah.
Dead Man and the old Nickelback records, and I didn't even know that it was all Simkin and 604, you know what I mean? And Dallas Smith and JoJo. Like I listened to those guys growing up. So it's cool to kind of be in that ecosystem and kind of be a part of that now. It's kind of been a really cool full circle moment for me.
Especially with JoJo's coming out with a new single. You got your single. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this, man. This is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
2025. Are we doing more shows? How are we going to work this out?
Yeah, I just signed up with agency Feldman. They're one of the big agencies here in the country. I'm sure you've heard of
Huge.
them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just signed up with them the last couple months, and they've been already keeping me busy. So just try to play as many shows as humanly possible, and hopefully me and JoJo can get back out on the road together at some point too. That was a
I'd
good.
love to see that, man. What I'd love to see you is at Boots and Hearts.
Yeah.
Any thought towards that?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on those things, right? It's all part of the pitch process, and I know Feldman's working behind the scenes to get me into those worlds, and the Boots and Hearts, Cavendish Beach, Lasso, all the big festivals. So hopefully, I can grace their stages here in the near future.
My fingers are crossed, and hopefully you coming back again to Toronto. Look, brother, I'll let you go.
Yeah,
Stay warm. Congrats on the music. Congrats on the career.
yeah,
Love to see where it's going, and hopefully you and I can get together maybe at the CCMAs,
I would love
Junos,
to.
whatever else is going to come up in the future, man. But just looking
Yeah,
forward to you and I doing a
yeah,
one-on-one interview in person. Thank you so much for the interview, man.
you betcha. We'll stay in touch for sure. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you.